Let's get straight into the teardown. First, use a heating platform to heat the screen. Remove the screws at the tail plug. Then use this Apple-specific disassembly suction cup to apply an upward stretching force to the screen. Gently pry the screen with a blade. Drop a little alcohol, then the screen can be easily disassembled. After opening the screen, it still has that familiar smell. This time, the CPU model is not marked on the motherboard shield. After removing the shield, the motherboard is completely exposed. The design and layout of the screen have not changed from the previous generation. Next, we disconnect the ribbon cable. Take out the motherboard. To remove the motherboard, you need to first remove the top speaker. It should be noted that there is a ribbon cable interface designed under the motherboard this time. This ribbon cable is the wireless charging inline socket interface. In the past, previous generations of motherboards would have a thick motherboard sticker on the back. This time, it has been eco-removed. If it wasn't me who took it out myself, I would suspect that this motherboard has been repaired. Apple's design level has to be praised. The integration and space utilization of the motherboard are indeed high. The front camera with 3D structured light has not changed much compared to the previous generations. The only difference is that a metal shield is omitted above the rear lens. Let's compare it with the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and you will understand. In previous generations of iPhones, there was always a metal shield on this lens. The next step is to remove the rear lens module. The camera part has been upgraded, and the telephoto lens is particularly eye-catching. Let's compare the rear lens of the iPhone 14 Pro Max. The volume of the three CMOS sensors has clearly become larger. The LiDAR sensor is directly attached to the chassis. In previous generations, there was a metal pressure plate pressing on it. This generation has also been omitted. We continue to disassemble the tail plug section. A plastic spacer is attached at the position where the speaker runs through the motor. This design is generally only found on Android phones. Apple is becoming more and more like Android. However, Android is increasingly resembling Apple. This is the main speaker. Continue to remove the vibration motor. Compared to the motor of the iPhone 14 Pro Max, it looks smaller. But the thickness has increased. The pressure sensor is still integrated on the tail plug. Next, we remove the battery glue. Take out the battery. The battery capacity is 4,422 mAh. The manufacturer is Huizhou Desai. Heating it a bit will allow us to remove the tail plug cable. The double-sided adhesive under the tail plug cable of this generation is very minimal. It is very easy to disassemble, and it must be said that it is convenient for our repair. The Type-C Interface Pro version supports USB 3.0 in the middle frame. This is the largest change compared to previous generations. The surrounding frame is made of titanium alloy. The middle partition is made of aluminum. So this casing is particularly lightweight. In the past, it was difficult to remove the back glass of Apple, but this generation has become simpler. We use a blade to pry open a gap. Drop some alcohol and then insert a business card to slide around the top. These two clasps are attached to the casing. And they need to be pushed inward. Then it can be easily removed. The back cover only has a circle of waterproof adhesive around the edges. Then there are 4 metal buckles on the edge, which are glued to the glass. After designing it this way, it's much easier to replace the glass. The rear microphone, flash, and wireless charging are all integrated on this ribbon cable. When we removed it, the sticker on the screen was really thin. And once removed, it was basically impossible to stick it back. No significant change in wireless charging. The magnets are also glued to the glass. To be honest, after removing this glass, the sense of luxury instantly disappears. This middle frame also gives me the feeling of an Android phone. Alright, finally let's take a look at the family portrait of the Apple iPhone 15 Pro Max.